Hello everybody, welcome back. This is Space Engineers and No Jetpack Survival. I am Prime, and yeah, we got yet another large ship build video. So first things first, there's a bit that we worked on last time that I'm having, again as usual, second thoughts about. Not too big a problem this time. It's not as big a deal as last time where we basically scrapped the entire catwalk area and redid it. It's just a minor change. And then I also had some thoughts about how we can potentially expand from there and solve one of the problems we had last time. We had some nice suggestions from some of our community over on Discord regarding how we can actually approach this. I already had an idea in mind, so with the greatest respect in the world, I'm going to do this a slightly different way. However, the end result should be basically the same. First things first, let's get up to our new catwalk. And I'm going to talk you through the issues that I've found. Well, they're not issues, but things that have bugged me. Compromises we made that we didn't need to. So firstly, we've got a double door over here, which is great. The idea was this should be an airlock, so it separates this area from this area. But that door on this side here prevents us railing or doing any kind of further corridor here to join that on. So it leaves a nice big open space here, which then I have to try and find a way to seal off here, which is going to get messy because then it's going to come in contact with where these windows are. So it's slightly problematic. So we're going to solve that. And then we've got another double door here, which is a totally different style to this one. At the time, it seemed okay, but you know what? I'm not that keen on that. And then the last thing that we were trying to do, but we didn't solve, was trying to get this to go all the way around there. And this is one of the areas where we've had some suggestions. So we're going to start with this bit first. And what I was actually thinking, I mean, we've gone across this far with these. Now, what I was thinking, because like these are in the block underneath this, because we can't place something right there. So what if... Let's see, this block should be available here. Let's just make sure it is. Do we have a block? Yep. No, it's not available there. Is the block of underneath available? Yes, it kind of is, but not that one. So this is a light armor panel. And I just jumped down somewhere I shouldn't be. Oh, marvelous. Okay, I guess we can carry on doing this and then find some way to get down there afterwards. So we've got light armor panels across here and here. One of those light armor panels is essentially the wall for this section, but it kind of doesn't have to be. Not at that point. So I need to get up. I need to get back up. Maybe we need to put... These blocks take up this space. I want to free up the top space there, but that means this space here can be filled up with the same types of block. Where is the block I want? There it is. Okay, so ideally, well, this would be... Oh, this is a mid block. That's not the one I want. That one is. Okay, so ideally these would be there. So one there. One there. But at this point here, I think this is a good opportunity to put some sort of like a little kind of a ramp in. Something that just gives us the means to get back up. So I'm going to do that. Just for this one block. Now, this is kind of part of an idea that somebody else used. I'm just not doing the whole idea. That's just more of an escape in case I ever fall down this spot there. Which is useful. Now, these are fine. So here, I can go back to the... Yep, that one. And I can place that there. See, one takes up the block above, and one takes up the block below. So we can actually overlap. Aha. The catwalk idea would not have worked. It's unfortunate, but it just wouldn't. So we're actually going to remove that block because it's not necessary. Because you can see there why. It looked nice, but we don't need it. And then place that on there. But hey. So now, we have the means to get most of the way around. We don't need to get around this bit, but we can repair that pipe. We can repair this. We can repair that pipe, should it be necessary. We can come back down to there if we need to get to the hinge, which is fine. So let's simulate this so we can get to the hinge for repair if need be, and the hinge part. I think maybe we could, well, let's see which one. These are in the block below. I'm thinking that it might come a bit close, but it's possible I could place that there and get across to the top of the elevator itself. Great. So that blocks this bit off. We will eventually, I think, put something underneath there to close this gap up. We're going to have to do that at some point anyway. But as it stands, I would say this is pretty much entirely serviceable now. Yeah, I am actually happy with that. Right, problem one solved. Nice. Now, obviously, that means that this block here, if we're going to keep it, can't just come out. But we are going to take it out. Because this is not what we want in this space here. What I want in this space is a passageway of some sort. Because this is one of those blocks where we can put a passage in without actually being problematic with the door after it. Because we can't use that space anymore. And we kind of need to clear it off. What I could do is put the passage in that way, but that sort of doesn't match. So let's find... Oh, goodness. Yeah, no, that's not going to work, obviously. I want to find a passageway that kind of matches the side of this. Ooh, no, that doesn't work either. That doesn't work either. One with a nice window, though. Now, these are windowed, but it doesn't mean that they're on the outside. They're just not. Okay, I need interior plate stuff, so we have to go get some materials. Might be doing a lot of back and forth during this. We'll sort this one out afterwards. This was just part of the problem. Yeah, it doesn't look too bad. Especially if we did the same somewhere here, maybe. We'll come to that in a moment. But yeah, this kind of just doesn't make sense to me. So now we've got a hatch door here that doesn't quite blend in with that, so make sure I've not damaged anything else. So here we need to find a door that works well for this bit. Now, the reason why I'm doing single doors, to explain the whole thing, is because that's a door, that's a door, that's a door. So why do we need an airlock there and there when this whole thing is an airlock? All we have to do is put the airlock control script on and tell it that when any of these doors are open, the other two must be locked at that time. Then it can't be like a full depressurization of an area. So that's the, yeah, that was my thought anyway. I don't know why I didn't think of it last time. Sometimes in the moment, you just don't think of things. Right, so I need, now I either need to go half door, but this won't work with this particular thing, so we can't do that. I can't go lab door for the same reason. Offset door, maybe. That's even worse with its matching. I think that doesn't work at all. Sliding hatch door, though, might work. If we put that in. I think that actually would work if we got rid of that. So we're kind of almost back to where we were with an idea. Are we going to need to bring those out? No, we don't need to at that point. We can work around that. That's just fine. Right, so we're going to pop that on there. So in doing this, we're freeing up the spaces sort of around where the doors are. Just a little bit more than they were before. We're removing any compromises that we were making. Okay, nice. Yeah, good. These will all be kind of automated at some point. I may put sensors in so that the doors respond to us. Now we just need to get rid of this pair of doors. That was a nice idea, but I think we're going to save lab doors for accessing areas that are a bit like different, special. That's because they've got all the hash marks and stuff on them, and you need to be able to see where you're going. So, like this, for example, we're going to leave these doors for accessing these. We're going to stick with something a bit more practical for the main doors. How much stuff am I about to grab? 3 steel plates. That's fine. Right, so here, we're going to have to get rid of that. Now I'm stuck. I have to get rid of a few bits. Let's get rid of some of them for the moment. Right. 3. Door. Same door. Take it the other way around though. Get the rest of these plates. Finish this off. Right, so now we got door, door, door. These all make up the thing. So for those of you that have been following along, and I have seen examples of this, and I may show them at some point with permission. So I will be asking for permission to show your footage. But yeah, for those of you that are following along, I apologize that we keep backtracking on things. It's all a learning experience. You can choose to follow the backtrack or carry on as you are. I mean, most of the time when I do these, it's not going to have a massive impact on the rest of the build. So it's up to you. Do as you wish. So here we need to sort of figure out how to continue this corridor to meet, but also grant access to the side there. So I think what we're going to do is, well, we can do a couple of things. We can either do that. So we carry that along here. That doesn't really match though. That matches nicely, but it's too closed. So that works quite well. So we could do that and that. I think that would be pretty decent. Right, we're going to put everything back. I'm going to take 1, 2 of them. And then I'm going to take a bunch of steel plate. And a few interior plates. Don't press all the buttons at once. Okay, so doing this cuts it off from there where it's going to be a bit untidy. Still need steel tubes. Okay, that's interesting. Still gives us access to this pipe and this area. Sort of closes it in a little bit. But that pretty much carries on the feeling of like a long pass-through corridor through the base. That should be fine. I don't think there's anywhere here that I can place a door because of these catwalks. They're both the right way up, unfortunately. We could flip them upside down, but then we wouldn't end up with that railing on the end. Oh no, there's railings on its own. We could flip these upside down. And then we could actually put a door on here and carry this corridor on all the way. Yeah, maybe we try that. Right, apologies again. We're backtracking one more time. We're going to keep backtracking, to be honest, until we get this right. Right, so not that one, obviously, but something like that should be fine. And then we just need a straight through corridor with a window. Yeah. Okay, now we need to redo the build planner. Now I should have enough materials to also place a door. It won't have enough to weld it though. So we're already starting to get this kind of feeling of large corridor. Lots of like spaces coming off it. We're going to have to remove that. That should still be stuck because it's stuck to the sides there. Clearly we have to remove that as well because they both need to be upside down. And then they all match then. And they look a bit tidier from the underside. And that means now I should, providing, well, I don't know, I'm not sure what space that's in. It's clearly not in this space because that was the other way up. So this should be room for a door. Now, again, keeping with our tradition, I think we're going to go with one of these, but I'm going to have to flip it around. There we are. Bam. Need a girder. Because it's technically a window, I suppose. And you need girders for windows. Right, let's put this in. Right. So oh, no, we can't use that. Okay, that's a bit of a shame. Because of this edge here. Do you know what? This door's good, but it's not altogether mega useful. Suppose we put that in there like that. Now I need different parts. So much back and forth here. Construction components done. Right, okay. Perfect. Now it's possible that this stairwell here may end up going at some point because this corridor is going to sort of be like an umbilical across a large portion of the ship, and the ship's got a fair way more to go. If we just stop it randomly here at a door, it could potentially sort of be cut really short. We're not sure. I mean, at some point we may end up doing that, but one thing I am going to do, oh, actually, is this going to... It might disconnect the stairs. No, technically, stairs should be connected to that. So we should be fine. So I'm going to take these doors off because we're not using these for this. And then we're going to just leave that open for the time being because I want the ability to decide to go boom straight across. Closer to where the front is. So again, the front of the ship's going to be around there. I mean, at that point, it is possible that we want to maybe sort of cut out these big corridors at some point and just use normal space. It's all going to reveal itself eventually when we start getting more floor space in. Okay, right. For now, let's just build this in a little bit more. And fill in the spaces I've missed previously. I'm in the wrong block here, so it's that type. But not that way. That way. Is it that way? Yeah. Again, if any of these sorts of blocks are in the way, we're just simply going to remove them, replace them. I've got lots of... so much rubbish in my inventory right now. I'm going to just take a bunch of them. Okay. Now we've got one random block here that we're missing. It's the same again. So I'm going to flip that. Now here, I'm not entirely certain what we're going to do with this bit yet. Because this is now fully enclosed off, we don't have to worry too much about it. We can keep that nice little air gap between there so it is separated from this part. Yeah. And then eventually we're going to have to build this up to that level there so that we can then start putting a ceiling on and piping these through so we can get another deck in. But before we get to that point, being that this is like the bottom deck of the ship, we want to get like most of the way towards the back, at least in the middle. Don't want to have too much to the sides on this very bottom deck. We want to maybe have a mini sort of side compartment, otherwise it's going to end up very flat. And then we can bring the next deck in and go much wider. Am I seeing smoke there, or is that just storm? It's storm clouds. Okay. Yeah, so we're going to go sort of wide on the bottom, maybe offset up a little bit, because there is a bit... Come back down so I can talk about it. There is part here, I was thinking really bringing this up a step, so this may have to actually change, but bringing this up a step and bringing the next level up at least one block more, so that from the outside, let's go outside. We have to do something with this space here just to make it look a bit prettier, but... So from the outside, this will be like the very middle of the bottom of the ship, the sort of the lowest point. And then it starts to come up, and then out and around. So you've got these sort of like large areas on the side, but they're not, nothing's lower or level with this bit. So this area here needs to come out further. So maybe around about here-ish. Put some like a tank room in somewhere here. And then we come up again a little bit for the rear engines. So that's kind of the idea that we got here. So this, I think we'll probably see the bottom of the ship end maybe around here-ish. And then everything's going to be at a higher level. And it's not going to... At the back, it might be a... That'll never cease to surprise me. God. So yeah, at the back, we could probably go a bit wider. But I think we still do anything wider at an upper level there. So it's going to kind of be narrower at the tail, slightly wider in the middle. And then we'll probably be about this wide at the front. But it's going to get much wider in the middle. Okay. So a few little changes made. I think we need to tidy this bit up now. So that, we can go a half block across here. Quite comfortably, I think. Just to make this a bit neater. So, in there... Oh, we can't go all the way. Ah, yeah, because of this block. Meh. Yeah. No, that's not nice. Okay. I think we're going to have to recall this up, and then we're going to have to work on the enclosure for it, and then we can bring it back down and get on with what we're doing. So, can I reach those buttons from here? Come on. Up button. Up button. There we go. I'm going to put an actual button at the bottom so we can access it. Yeah, that's quite neat. It's a shame that because of this block here we can't put something in there. But then if we had something in there, we'd be missing a block here, which is even worse. So, right, these are using a weird measuring stick. Right, 1, 2, 3 wide exactly at this point. They are 1, 2, 3 and a bit this way. Still need that bit, so we've got to be careful. I mean, the other thing as well is if I take off these blocks all at once, it's gonna cause problems for these. So I think for these particular this is gonna be a bit tricky. I wonder, let's have a look at big doors. It was a suggestion that came in at some point. So gate. Okay, so it's a gate that I was thinking of. Now I'm not entirely certain a gate's going to be suitable for this because, well, ooh, maybe we had 2 of them. Let me think. I place that on there. Well, I obviously missed. It didn't go anywhere near where I wanted to put it. So if I place that there, obviously we'd have to rework this bit. Quite a lot. All the way across, in fact. And then another one on the other side. I wonder if it'll fully clear. This is an idea that was given to me for doing that one, but we already did our cool thing. This gate's going to be quicker to open, which is kind of what we want. We don't want a long drag. We potentially could have done this for the connector. But let's see. Yeah, that's plenty of room. I mean, we gave the connector even more space than the gate, but like, I think having a bit of variety there is pretty cool, to be honest. So something like that, and then we can find a way to integrate these back in. So like, that means most of these blocks up here are going to have to change. Okay, and this also gives us a control point. Okay, let's weld these two up and see what happens. Big blocks I like because they sort of save on like the issues with repairs and stuff, although the downside to them when they break,
energy low,
the whole thing breaks. Energy's low. Okay, gonna take a lot of resources. I can probably call the elevator down again. I'm glad it's open when it starts. That's pretty cool. I mean, the upside that this one is much more armoured, so it will protect that connector and this whole middle room, which is probably far more important than protecting this, actually. Because we can always find another way down if we absolutely have to, but losing that central room could be quite devastating. Especially if the ship was connected to something at the time. Right. Okay, let's see if I can call this elevator down now from here. So, no, big ship. Ship elevator. Elevator piston. Reverse. Okay, it passes through the gate just fine. I think the gate's a bit overkill, but it's got to make room for this bit, the back. And that's quite... That doesn't come too bad, actually, for level. You go through the gate, gate closes, and then here we are. Not bad. Okay, so we have to just make the gate do those things. And then we're all good. So how are we going to control the gate's positioning? Now then, if I just press that and the gate was closed, it's going to go like a bit nuts. It's going to go a bit mental. I could put some sort of a sensor system in. Again, I like sensors mostly because they kind of just work on their own. Problem is once we've got to the point where oh, actually, no. Aha. We have to come down. We have to go down. Right. Okay, so if we had a sensor in here somewhere, on one of these side blocks, maybe where there's just enough room, maybe here, or on the other side, like here. It's a half block. I don't think we can put one on there, but somewhere in this vicinity anyway. The idea basically being is it's detecting the piston. As long as the piston's in front of the sensor, it's going to work. When it no longer detects the piston because the piston's up and out of the way, there's a radar drop pod incoming. We have to run. This time I spotted it in advance. Don't care that I'm depressurizing. Just get to zeros. Right, so something blew up somewhere. But we're in our bunker space. There's a drop pod again. It tried taking off and it's landed on, probably on my ship. I sincerely hope not. Oh, that's a bit worrying. Right, let me think. See if I can find a Gatling cannon I can interface with. Maybe that one. Can't control. I think I need a seat to be able to control with. I have to go up a level. Okay, let's try a different turret. Try north. Oof, yeah, that landed really close to the ship. Yeah, there's a reload time on this. That's why the turrets on that earlier episode took quite a bit of time to start firing again every time I walked away. It just happened to be coincidence that the reload time was every time I turned around. Okay, right, let's get back up and sort that mess out. That banging's fine. It's my drill, which is still drilling. Probably it's already at the bottom of the pistons now, so I feel like we will have to alter our pistons again. Okay, let's put our guns on just in case there's any robots left hiding behind my ship. Okay, from the looks of it, damage to my stuff's minimal. Obviously there's all this. So we're going to have to actually clean this lot up. That sorts that out. We had a whole good episode last time where we didn't have any of this going on, and yeah, it's typical it's going to be short-lived. I don't know what that is, and if I can even... There we go. Let's just get everything that's dropped. Oh well. Is that a warhead?
Inventory full.
I think I got rid of everything that was making noise then. All that roaring sound from the fire. Sometimes it's just a bit too much rubbish to have to worry about taking down manually. Okay, there's a big hole here. Oof. That's a really big hole here.
Meteor storm inbound.
Oh, marvellous. Just coming from that direction for sure. We should be in range of the turrets from here. I mean, clearly from the damage here we are. Oh, these are coming straight down. Okay, I'm going to trust the turrets. Hey, turrets did their job. And I've still got a hole here. Very good. Right. Back to what we were doing before. So we just welded all these up. And then we were looking at how to actually control them. I'm not going to be integrating all this in until I can figure out how to control it all. So, obviously there's not really too possible on this side of it at least anyway. But possibly on the other side. There's no rule that says a sensor has to have line of sight. You can sense things through stuff, so you can hide a sensor. And also, we've got this nice little handy passageway that grants us access to the workings of this whole thing. See? Right here. So here is the point where this gets out of the way. So putting something just below that might be the way to go. Is that's not even a door there? Is that block available? Even one of these. I mean, these are... Well, these blocks are taken, I'm sure, because those are in the way. But... possibly... Well, these... See, that's in this block. That's in that block space. But here we've got nothing. Absolutely nothing right there. I could potentially lose this block and put a sensor in right there. Potentially. Or, yeah, round about there. So this is doing nothing, that spot. Nothing at all. So yeah, let's put a sensor in. If I can remember where I put it on my bar. There it is, number 4. Okay, so which way up do these go? I mean, I'm going to have to put some way across here again in a minute, but... Okay, so I'm looking for little arrows on the top. I think, are those arrows pointing up? Yeah, they're very faint, but they are. Right. Okay. So now I just need to... place it on that side, but now I can't see the arrows. And I'm not facing the right direction to be able to rotate it properly. There we are. I think that's not arrows, that's arrows. Right, bam, that way up. Okay, so we have to come up. Go all the way around to get materials. And then we can finish that whole thing off. Right. For some reason, oh, right, it's just the angle, but from here it looked like that sort of started climbing up here. It obviously hasn't. Hey. So all the way back down. Crouchy crouch. Sensor done. Let's name it. Okay. Big ship. Elevator. Piston. No, elevator door. Elevator outer door sensor. Long name, but it does the job. By the way, yeah, some people who've just recently watched through this series have cottoned on to the fact that I did ask for a name for this ship. We're nowhere near ready to name it yet, but I am writing down any suggestions that come through in the comments. So if you want to be in with a chance of having a name that you chose applied to this ship in nice big letters somewhere, make sure you just, on any of these videos, just leave a comment saying, hey, you know, I've got an idea for a name. It is such and such a thing, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, just let me know, and we will do a big sort of draw thing at the end, or I'll just pick the one I like the best. Maybe we'll just have a vote for it. I'm not sure, but we'll figure it out. But one thing's for certain, if you don't put a name in, there's no chance your name will be picked. Simple. Right. Now I need my sensor field range thingy on. This needs to be on show on HUD. Now, by default, that range is way too big. So left extent, let's bring you way down. Right extent should match. So 0.4. Bottom extent, we don't really need a bottom extent. Top extent should be quite small as well. So the idea is going to be, it's going to be just below where the piston is, but just in time to catch the, you know, to start the door up. Front extent, I'm going to have to really bring that in. I don't want it touching the actual elevator itself. I only want it on where the piston's going. That, in theory, should be correct. We can go out just a touch more. I want to make sure 100% that it's right in the piston's range. And that this way, at least, if the piston can't trigger it for some reason, I don't know why it wouldn't, but if the piston can't trigger it, we could always pop a block on the back of the elevator that it can trigger on. Boom. Okay, so good. Right. So that's the sensor thing. Now I just need to set it up. I don't need to see sensor field range anymore. Now we don't need this to show on HUD anymore. Right. Okay. Now, what do we want it to connect? To detect players? No. Floating objects? No, for certain. We don't need an audible alert. Small ships? Nope. Large ships? Yeah. Stations? Nope. At the moment, it is a station. So just to test this, I have to put that on. Subgrids? Yes. I wonder if subgrids works without these being on. Not sure. Owner, yeah, because it's got to be owner's stuff. Friendly, no. Neutral, no. Enemy, nope. Right, so that should trigger when this, well, it should trigger as soon as this comes down. I could do it from here, but I don't think there's a need to. Right, now what I need to do is close those big doors. So I need to group them first. Oh, actually, is there a way I can? There we are. Right. Gates, they're called. There's two gates we're going to call big ship. What? Elevator. Outer door. I'm just going to copy that, paste it. And then we're going to select both. Paste it, put an S on the end, save, and we've got our group. Good. Right. So here I need to put some actions on. Some actions. Right, so when detected, groups, where's our gate? Big ass gate thing. Where is it? There it is. Right, so when detected, they're going to open. When not detected, you're going to close. That's all it has to do. At least in theory, anyway. Right. So let's close those gates, and then we'll get into the elevator and try it and see what happens. So, gate, Oh no, we can call them gate. Outer. Outer doors. Oh, outer doors. Oh yeah, this is all perfect. Okay, so closed. Nice and quick. No control over how quick, but you know, it's quicker than the other ones. Right, so we're going to close you. And we're going to close you. And we're going to come all the way down. Go back to our elevator. And just take a big risk and test it. Before I do that, because I actually updated the BIOS on this computer recently, and then had to make some changes to my CPU setup to stop this thing from crashing on me, I'm going to save my progress because it's something I keep forgetting to do. I turned off autosave just simply because it makes too many like micro interruptions that are really annoying. I'd rather have one big interruption that's obvious than little sudden jitters. Right, let's go down and see what happens. Oh, it clears just in time. Oh no, it's opening, closing, opening, closing. That's weird. Okay, there was a bit of weirdness there where it tried to open and close a bit. I'm not sure why. They can't close while something's in the way anyway, but the sensing thing, you know, is a bit weird there. It is clearly still sensing something, so maybe there was something. Maybe it's around this bit. Maybe it needs to be a little bit further in, that sensor. Let's just increase the sensor range a touch. I don't know, it should be fine because it was all the way through to about here. Let's go up and see what happens. Not getting twitchy, not getting twitchy. That's the sound of those gates shutting. That is the sound of air tightness. Okay, and we're going to go down one more time and just make sure. They do a little bit of a dance there, which is a bit unusual, but I don't mind that. That is not too big a problem. But for some reason, something is... Yeah, let's just check the sensor range again. And then we're going to put it back onto show on HUD. Outer sensor HUD. Right, I should be able to see it from here. So that field range certainly is intersecting. But technically this part here, there's no grid. So that could be what the problem is. That there is no grid there. Now a sensor, I don't think it can detect its own grid. So if I extend it down a bit further, then it should still pick up on this block, which is probably all it needs to do. Okay, let's try that. So let's edit this sensor. Okay, outer sensor. Let's extend this down. So it's definitely covering. Oh, that's way too far. Bit too far. Let's try and do it from here. Okay. Outer. Bottom extent. And that should do it. So it's definitely intersecting that. Okay, we're not going to turn off the thing yet. We're just going to come up, make sure these shut. It's perfect timing. Right, it's come down. They opened. No dance this time. And this is good. Now, there is the possibility that if we've landed funny and this needs to go down a little bit further, yeah, I think we should just drop that sensor range just a teeny bit more. The bottom of it doesn't matter. It's when it leaves the top that's sort of triggering the action. So, outer, but I just don't want it to go too low to the point where, yeah, where one of my ships can sort of trigger it. That's the one thing I don't want it to do. So, we don't want to go too crazy with it, but bottom, let's just allow a little leeway there. Yeah, that'll do. Right. So, show and hard off. Field range showing off. Done. Right. So, it'll now trigger if that comes down a little bit further. So, if we've had to sort of come down to something else. Because that's got a reasonable distance left before it actually has to stop. So, it could potentially come down a whole extra block. So, yeah. But in the worst case scenario, when these doors try to close themselves because it goes out of range, they'll open themselves again anyway because there's something in the way. So it should be fine. Unless somehow they're able to sort of go through the middle of the piston. I've never seen that happen, but that'd be interesting. Certainly. Right. Okay, I need energy. Let's get back up. Test this one more time for consistency. Nice. That works. So, technically now, that from the outside is, well, it will be airtightable. Right. I need health. I got injured in that attack before, I think. It's a shame that there's not going to be much opportunity for me to see. Well, actually, no, there might be, because I need to put some buttons on the outside to control this elevator from externally. So somewhere on here, I'm going to have to place a button. I'm also ready to integrate this in a bit more now, so I think I'm going to just pop a little rampy thing up here. Do we want to go up one more? Don't think we need to. I'm going to need to do the other side as well. Got room to access that. And just pop a little rampy thing up here. Right. So, obviously, fairly sure there's nothing there that I can break. Ooh, it's going to make that a bit silly. Oh well. I mean, technically speaking, this is not the outside of the ship, so we might not even have to really have done this, but it would be better if it was actually reasonably matched up. So let's just put an ordinary block in here, because that's what is called for at this point. Okay. Oh, we got some damage there. Let's repair that while I can. So, typical, need steel plates. We don't have materials. Probably too many, but good. Right, that's repaired. You're in the way now. You're also in the way now. Right, so we brought that in there. This block here clearly, well, this whole section needs to change, but I think we have to be careful how we do it. So let's think about it carefully. So I think clearly that's just a straight block as well. No, that's out of the way. That's fine. Yeah. Now I can pick you up. Okay. So it is a bit flat and bland, but it is only one face of a small part of the ship. So it kind of makes sense, to be honest. Right. So all we're doing is we're sort of delaying flaring this out a little bit by at least one block. Right. And then here we've got this unusual shape again, which kind of no longer makes much sense. And then we've also got, well, I need to put one more block on the end of here. Let's move that to somewhere a bit more practical. So this block does not need to be a weird fancy block anymore. Shame, because I got really lucky finding that one. Right. We can, yeah, we have to build those back in. Right. So that now makes sense. We can easily sort of work off that shape now, rather than having weird stuff to have to work around. And these gates are in place perfectly, which is great. We are going to have to integrate that into this shape at some point here, so I think the safest way to, let's do a long integration. The old classic, I can't get it the right way around block. Okay. I'm doing all this first because then I can figure out where to put a button or something, or a sensor. Okay, that's fine. And then we can do the next one. Okay. We quite likely might change some of this out just to add some more detail in at a later date. We just want the very broad shapes at this point. And then once we've got the broad shapes in, we can start working on adding extra detail, extra features, adding more parts to it. But we got the functional parts in right now that do the job. Right, so we need the means to call this thing, which means a button of some sort. So what do we have by these are not buttons, they don't do the job I want. Do I have buttons on my bar, and if not, why not, and why is that there? Why? This is a good place for buttons. Right. What would work well upside down? I feel like that's got the most options available on it. So we'll put that on there for now. Okay. So let's see. Right there. Let's turn this upside down and see what makes sense. Not you, because you're silly. Something like that could be kind of interesting. Could give plenty of information. I feel like it's a little close to the ground. So like if we had a block, like a gap in there somewhere to place it. Or we are symmetrical here. Aha. maybe, just for the sake of details, this might be a bit silly, but oh, but that's possibly too high. It would be reachable. You see, it's either that or we have something like this on here, but that's a bit like there, the button's visible, but you can't read what's on the screen, and it kind of becomes very obvious that this is the wrong way up very quickly. Also, if you viewed it from the wrong way around, it's not clear what it is. There's that one. That's not a button either. So we're kind of back to this one. I think we're going to go with that. And I kind of have a good reason. Because the buttons on this are accessible from this height. If we were too much lower, then maybe we'd need to think of like putting some sort of means to get to it in. But I think it's safe to say we could definitely access that from a reasonable height. So that's fine. If we'd put it any lower, then we're risking potentially scraping it off in a landing, but here's quite protected. And this is like the back end of the ship, so it's not super visible from everywhere. We can't really place them on the other side. But here we can put controls for the elevator and for the connector, in case we need to manually do this. And we can place little bits of text on the screens, or icons or something on the screens that are also the buttons, and flip them the other way around so they work correctly. So button 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're going kind of in reverse order here. So for the first one, I want the elevator. So big ship, L, piston. So this one is to go down, so that's literally set velocity 0.8. Okay, that's the first one. Then we want a button to go up, so it's the same controller, set velocity minus 0.8 to go up. Okay. Good. 0.8 meters per second is a reasonable speed. We could probably speed it up a little more, but it might get a bit janky at that point. So we'll start with them two buttons for now. And now we just need to put some sort of a LCD thing on here. So number pad 4. Text and images, maybe. We could do with rotating it. Does it have the option to rotate it? This is a very good question. Alignment, left, center, right. Padding. Change time interval. You seriously can't rotate these? That's a shame. I guess they did not intend us to put them upside down. But, you know, I'm still going to try and make it work. Arrow. I don't know which way the arrow points. So we'll just add it to selection. Oh, it points in the right direction. That's lucky. Nice. Okay, that'll do. Aspect ratio. That looks better. Right, that's one. Number pad 3 is going up. So text and images, I guess. Now I can't use the same arrow because I can't flip it round, because that's a little short-sighted, and it would have been nice to be able to actually do that. It's definitely no orientation thing, is it? Right, no. Okay. So we can't use the arrow. We could do the no entry sign. Yeah. because it's like closing it. Fine. Okay, so now we need to think about the other two. So number pad 2 be for the connector. So if we go text and images, what can we use for a connector? Something that looks okay upside down. Something basic that looks okay upside down. Maybe we put the danger symbol on. The danger symbol will be upside down though. So that would actually look a bit silly. Actually no, maybe not. It doesn't look like an exclamation mark anymore. It looks like an upside down eye triangle. So we could use that. Okay. I'm just being creative here. We might have to sort of get some additional images in here so that we can figure it out, or you do some like ASCII art or something. We'll figure something out if this doesn't, if it bugs me later. We're going to put a cross on the next one. I probably just put it on the wrong one there. So we're going to go danger symbol, get rid of the cross thing. I've just been adding them to the whole same selection on the same button. Right, button 1. Text and images. I was so disappointed you can't rotate unless I have missed it multiple times. Cross. There we go. And then aspect ratio. Right. So that's that. And now what I need to do is on here. So button. That's to bring the connector down. So connector. Bishop connector extend. Trigger now. And I need retract. Trigger now. Right. That should be all the controls we actually need to control both of these. Slightly cryptic looking, but I think that's sort of cool. It's a shame I can't put like a little sliding closing thing there which opens up when you get close to it. It'd be nice if we had something like that in the game, but that's fine. Right, let's try this out from the outside. I want to see what it all looks like. Cool. Okay. Let's put the connector away as well. Just for a moment. And then I can get an idea what the bottom of the ship looks like when everything's closed up. Very slow. We might have to speed that connector up a little bit. I mean, the problem is, though, is the amount of time it takes for these to open and close. It's a little bit on the long side, but that's fine. It's never urgent to get the connector down. You can always sort of get landing gear down first, as long as you're in the right place, then connector can come down afterwards. That's the whole design here. So that's not bad, actually. We've got a couple of big ports on the bottom which add some interest to everything. That's slightly see-through. You can walk under all of it without banging your head, just about. The elevator part here is fine. Right, let's put this back down now. So the whole process, open the doors. Connector's moving the whole time. So there's not really a lot of room there for speeding that up. Okay. And it'll automatically get itself connected. There we are. Right, and then timing's perfect on this. Okay, I'm quite happy with this. Marvellous. Everything works. We've got decent air tightening going on. At least potential anyway. Let's get my energy back. Alright. This bit is still open for like argument, what we're going to do with it. So we're definitely going to have to bring these up. We're definitely going to have to start extending this out and working out what we're going to do with the sides. I think, as somebody suggested, we're going to bring out some side rooms, but we're going to go up a level first, so up at least one block, so we can get some sort of slope going on. Find some reason to have these. It could even just be, as suggested, staircases up to the next floor, possibly. The next deck, though, kind of needs to be slightly offset from this one, I think, because again, I want that slightly step up, and I don't want the step to be this big. So we're going to find something big enough to put on the side here that's not just stairs. There has to be something next to the stairs, something after them. So I'm going to have a think about that. For now, though, I'm happy with what we've done today. We've made a couple of little corrections to this corridor. We've patched that up, sorted out the doors so we've not got an excessive amount of them. We've finished off our elevator. I am happy that this is pretty much done. There is room to put something in there, possibly. And no, actually, no, there wasn't room to put something in there. We could put some fancy lighting in somewhere, maybe, at some point. But yeah, for the time being, I'm happy with this. It's a nice little solution. It fits perfectly. Didn't need any more programmable blocks or event controllers or anything like that to make it happen. At least these are fine, right? All good. Right, that's it. I'm going to call this one at this point, and what we'll do is we'll work on that sort of sideways expansion next time. I've still not repaired the roof here. Probably have to do that at some point. I will remember one day when it's not too late. But in the meantime, have a fantastic weekend, and all the other things in between until we see you next time for another No Jetpack Survival. Bye for now.